So just a few days ago, it was announced the Brooklyn Nets would be getting Kyrie back for home games. If you look at the standings right now, it's looking really unlikely that the Brooklyn Nets go higher than the 8th seed where they are right now, and it looks like they're not going to go lower than the 9th seed. And with the Brooklyn Nets probably going to be facing the number 1 seed in the conference, I think this is huge trouble for the NBA, and I think the Brooklyn Nets have a chance to do something that we've never seen. And in today's video, I'm just going to be discussing that. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to go with 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. In the course of NBA history, usually the team that's the 8th seed is always going to get swept in the first round or losing a gentleman's sweep or something like that. No one ever views the 8th seed as a team that's actually capable of winning a championship. But for the first time in a really long time, the Brooklyn Nets are an 8th seed that I can very much see beating any team in the league. And this is really messing stuff up because now, if I'm being honest, I don't think any of the top Eastern Conference teams should want to face the I don't think any of them should want to be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. The race for number 1 seed right now is really close. The 76ers, the Heat, the Celtics, and the Bucks are all really close. There's only a half a game difference between all the teams, at least at the making of this video. Meaning we do not know who's going to be the number 1 seed when the playoffs come. It's not like the Western Conference. We know Phoenix is going to be the 1st seed. And genuinely, I can see the Brooklyn Nets beating most of the teams that are competing for the number 1 seed right now. If the Celtics become the number 1 seed, the Brooklyn Nets can beat them for sure if they're healthy. If the Miami Heat are the 1st seed, I think the Brooklyn Nets are beating them as well. When it comes to the 76ers, I think that's a little bit more difficult, but I think I would give a little bit of an edge to the Brooklyn Nets. Only the Milwaukee Bucks are a team that I think will beat the Brooklyn Nets if they ever verse in a series. But still, that's a really, really close series. Milwaukee definitely doesn't want to verse them in the first round. Brooklyn simply has the best duo of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in the Eastern Conference. Best duo in the East, no argument. In NBA history, we've never seen an 8th seed actually win the championship. Maybe we saw the New York Knicks back in the day make it to the finals, but they never actually won a championship. I truly believe the Brooklyn Nets have the chance to do that this season. If we're being honest, the Brooklyn Nets being the 8th seed really makes things interesting when it comes to playoff time. Because if you're the number 1 seed, you don't want to verse the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. Also, if you're the 4th or 5th seed, you don't want to verse the Brooklyn Nets in the second round. So right now, the best spot to be at is the 2nd and 3rd spot. That way you don't have to face Brooklyn until the conference finals. At the making of this video, the Chicago Bulls are basically locks for the 5th or 4th seed in the conference. So now we're going to see a lot of teams trying somewhat to avoid the number 1 seed while simultaneously trying not to lose enough games to where they fall down to the 4th seed. This is going to be pretty interesting to see in the last few games of the regular season. The Nets as a fully healthy team is not a team that you want to face. They have 2 of the best scorers in the league, 2 guys who are capable of going off for 40 points if they just feel like it, along with a lot of really solid role players in Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, and Goran Dragic. This is a team with a lot of experience. They don't have just a bunch of young guys who are going to choke or underplay. Hopefully, obviously someone's going to underplay and disappoint us, but most of their team is just filled with 30-year-old veterans, so there's a way less chance of that happen. Also, they have Kevin Durant, arguably the best player in the league. I don't think so, but I think he's the 3rd best player in the league. If you have him on your team, you have a chance to win any series. Also, when it comes to facing the Miami Heat, I think the Nets would definitely win that series because we just saw what the Nets did to them with Kyrie Irving not even playing that well. Also, Brooklyn just has by far better players. Kyrie and Durant are way better than Miami's best player in Jimmy Butler. And yes, Miami is a solid team. They have a way more depth, but I just think Brooklyn's offense is going to overwhelm them, and a lot of times Miami's offense just becomes stale and they can't score. But I'm not disrespecting Miami. I think this series would go to 6 games, maybe even 7. But I just think the Nets star power would overpower the Heat. When it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, this is a series I think will go 7 games, but I think the difference would be that the Sixers are just prone to underperforming in the playoffs because Doc Rivers is their coach. He's always making them lose series. Also, they have James Harden. He's notorious for disappearing in the playoffs. Also, I think Brooklyn's offense will just be too much. I think Brooklyn's offense is like too much for most teams, to be honest. But I'm not going to lie, I think Joel Embiid will go absolutely crazy in this series because no one on Brooklyn can guard Joel Embiid at all to save their life. When it comes to the Celtics, I think the Nets win that for sure, probably in 5 or maybe even 6 games, but it definitely not going 7. Celtics are not good on offense. They do have the best defense in the league, but Brooklyn just has so much offensive talent that I find it hard to see the Celtics winning more than 1 game. When it comes to the Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks, I actually think the Milwaukee Bucks would be able to win this series because the Bucks have one of the best defenses in the league. They have lots of defenders to throw at Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and on top of that, they have one of the best offenses in the league with arguably the most unstoppable player in the league on their team, and you would just hope that Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday can step up. The Bucks can definitely compete with the Nets on offense, and then on top of that, they have way better defense, and I just think they're simply a way better team than they were last year. But I'm not here disrespecting the Nets. I think a series Bucks versus Nets would definitely go to 7 games. As I said, we never seen an 8th seed go and win the championship, but I definitely think the Brooklyn Nets are capable of doing just that. I think the Nets are the second best team in the conference, and I think they're a top 5 team in the league right now. I'm not going to say I predict them to make it to the finals because I think the Milwaukee Bucks will make the finals, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that the Brooklyn Nets could defeat the Milwaukee Bucks in this series. I just think the Bucks are a little bit better. I think these playoffs are going to be really weird. I think we're going to see the 8th seed possibly be the number 1 seed for the first time in a really long time. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think the Brooklyn Nets can beat the number 1 seed. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, you want to go a few thousand subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro.